But if you think about Nigeria itself, it's an open prison.
Yes, if you wanted me to dive deep into this, 10 minutes wasn't enough. Yes. So, but I will try and address these issues in terms of implementation and enforcement. And I have spoken directly to the legitimacy of the Nigerian Constitution. What is contradictory about their 1999 Constitution, the military-imposed Constitution, is that it gives you a chapter 2 that says you have all these rights. And then says also in one of the sections that you can't enforce them. That's an oxymoron. What we are saying is that I lived in America for 20 years. If your child doesn't show up in school twice, that is in 2 days, police will be on your front porch. There's also an enforcement of whatever you do with your taxes. If you have an accident on a borehole, on a damaged part of the road, and you are sufficiently convinced that the city did not do its job because you have paid your taxes, you can also enforce that right. Okay. They said I should come to the state. Okay. So you can also enforce that right by going to a court and suing the city that was responsible or that been irresponsible in making sure that that crater that we have on our highway had not been taken care of, but it endangered your life. So the enforcement have to be within the limits of the law. Otherwise, you are asking people to take laws into their hands. What I'm saying is that your constitution is an illegitimate document. Secondly, it's an oxymoronic document. It contradicts itself. Even the fact that Nigeria is a signatory to a number of covenants, they do not care about them. But most importantly, in enforcing laws, first and foremost, you must have the supremacy of the rule of law. In a country where officials enjoy violating court orders, these things are a waste of time until we get to that point. That's why I say, vote for those of us who not only will ensure that the rule of law prevails, but will teach those people who have been violating your rights a lesson in the future. Because we must teach them a lesson. Everybody that killed, sent somebody to jail, prosecuted illegally or persecuted someone, must one day pay for their crime in this country. And I believe in that. Because that will then ensure that some of them, that some of you candidates go and visit, they're supposed to be in prison, to endorse you for political election. On the second one about children, you asked about kids. There's no solution to it other than investing our wealth in free education for kids. I am a beneficiary of universal basic education in Nigeria. Now, in Nigeria, your universal basic education is an avenue for corruption. And at any rate, I no longer believe in basic education anymore. That education of slates and chalk is in the past. Because why? My kids were able to go to school during COVID, while your leaders were stealing palliatives meant for kids in Nigeria during the last COVID. We saw them in the warehouses. So it is important, most importantly, that you vote for leaders whose ideas are very clear, who have integrity, but most importantly, leaders with vision. And when I'm talking about vision, I'm not talking about the thickness of the lens in your glasses. I'm talking about the clarity of your thoughts. That is what is vision. Thank you very much. I just want us to understand that what has been driving our policy in Nigeria towards women is completely discriminatory. And the best way to discriminate against women is to create a ministry referred to as the Ministry of Women Affairs. And there are no ministries in Nigeria known as Ministry of Men Affairs. I will abolish that and create a ministry for gender and equality so that women can be central to the discussion around equality. Secondly, we should not be treating women from the point of percentages and statistics. And if we are going to do that, let women take their right percentage in our political life. If you have 51% of your voters in an election, then the women in the country should get together and make sure they present a woman candidate that can win the election for Nigeria and teach Nigerians a lesson about equality. And I'm saying this very seriously. Because sometimes when we are talking about women, we celebrate any little symbolic achievement of women as something that is big deal. It's like we bring them, oh, you know, we have a woman who is doing very well. But we don't say that to men. But women are the people who are likely to wake up first and go to bed last. Even in political rallies, they are the ones who come, they are the ones who wear the political symbols, and they are likely to be the ones who clean up after the men have done their poop in the country. The percentages of women in the country is more than 50%. Give them that right, but I don't want women to be treated in percentage. But in regards to our party, we have to apologize first and foremost. We are also guilty of this. But most importantly, we are promised that when we come into office, you get the percentages of women in office as it is the percentages of women in the country and voters. And I want to say to Nigerian women, stop also complaining about percentages. I was so appalled when women were celebrating 35% of position in political office in the country. You are 51%. Go for 60%. And like I said, teach our men a lesson. Don't make them keep making you look as if you are weak. We are not the weaker sex. Men in this country are the weakest because they destroyed our country.
Thank you, sir. Nigeria, they use computer. The leaders of Nigeria, they use radio where they turn the knob.